because I knew that by this time of the night I'd had a few drinks that I might not remember, but I also wanted to prove to my two brothers and you English folk that I can actually fucking read. And all I wanted to say to Malcolm, who was also reading, is that if you use point 16 as a font, it makes it infinitely easier. So, I'm not saying I'm a slicker orator. When you're man there, all I'm saying is I know how to use, you know, the old Word document. So, what a pleasure it is to be here once again, ladies and gentlemen. And it is so nice to see so many old and familiar faces. Some very old and familiar faces. But firstly, a little family story. A couple of years ago, we had a little family holiday. And it was up in Scotland. It was just about a 4-day thing. And Rhonda, who's my lovely sister-in-law, we refer to her as the long-suffering Rhonda. For reasons that you will have connected with this evening. But Rhonda, in preparation for this holiday, she got Andy a new sponge bag and a new razor. And she was wanting to make sure that, that wherever Andy should find himself on that weekend, be it in Aberfoyle or Callander or any of the other surrounding areas, that he could always give himself a good shave around the Trossachs. On the same weekend, we did, you know, the Go 8 thing. You know, for those of you who don't know Go 8, but it's like lots of trees, lots of wires, and very high up. Yeah? And you are suspended or fastened up there by a single carabiner and a wire. Okay. So the whole family did this.
Not good in kilts.
And, unless you're well hung. Which for us is okay, but for the poor attendants at £2.50 an hour below, that's not. Anyway, there we are, 30-40 foot above the ground, suspended by this wire, and Richard was crossing one of them rope bridges between two of the tall trees. Now, as he was doing that, a very precarious movement, suddenly his wallet fell out. I don't believe that was possible. Now, we were absolutely gobsmacked that he had a fucking wallet with him. But I'm not saying he's a tight bastard. He was unhooked and down here so quickly, his wallet knocked him on the back of the head. In hospital with concussion. Which is amazing because there's nothing in his wallet.
What he doesn't know is I caught his as well.
Anyway, I've previously been invited to say a few words on other Burns evenings, and that's usually involved an irreverent reflection upon our respective cultures. Those of us Scottish folk.
Hey!
Is there only 3 in? Actually, I'm done now. Because if it all kicks off, we're stuffed. I've got a sword. Those of us Scottish folk and you Yorkshire people. Okay. Now, some of these reflections previously may have been quite funny, some slightly offensive, even. I don't know.
I don't think so.
But whatever the case, I don't think that any of you will mind. Sit and listen to me for the next 40 minutes.
So let's see Malcolm for an hour.
Because you did it for bloody Malcolm. Let's face it, I'm younger and funnier. But not better looking. No, listen, no. I mean, it is a pleasure to be holding this 40 minutes. Just sit tight, it'll be alright. And for the Yorkshire folk here, don't worry. Don't worry, no one's getting charged for my time tonight. Just relax, just enjoy it, it'll be alright. sensitivity, which my good brothers have referred to earlier, in a slightly clumsy fashion, but in this day of sensitivity, and some would say appropriately so, then and when our use of language and the messages that are conveyed by it are under intense scrutiny, I just want to issue some reassurances to you all.
That's beautiful.
I am not here to poke fun at other cultures, like that of our adopted county, which is Yorkshire. I'm not here to make cheap jokes about flat-capped, tight-mouthed, mean-spirited, dim Yorkshire as a way of reinforcing long-held stereotypes. Oh no, and I'm not going to try and get cheap laughs out of making shallow jibes at the Scottish dialect. To have you chortle at the uchs and the eyes and the capuchuchtas and the mixborans.
You can't make them up.
Sorry.
What are you making them up?
Oh, sorry, I misread that. I am here to poke fun at other cultures like that of our adopted council. No, but seriously, let's look at where our cultures meet, those of the Scottish and the Yorkshire folk. Let's look at some of the similarities. Let's look at the threads that bind us, that serve to remind us that whilst we have some different ways of saying and doing things, that really we are still simply humans after all. Some more simply than others. You know who you are. And what's more, standing here, I now know who you are.
What's more standing here? You look a bit more standing than others.
For example, in Scotland, you see, we have a pint of heavy. Whereas in Yorkshire, you guys, you have Tetleys. Ha! Pish!
I'll agree with that.
And it is, to be fair. We have whiskey, which you have been partaking of all evening.
I've run out.
And you guys have Yorkshire tea. We have some tooth-rot, chunky stuff called tablet, and you guys have toffee. We have Robert Burns. And you have J.B. Priestley.
Who?
We have Billy Connolly.
Yeah, thank you.
You have Billy Pierce. Now, I worked on Billy Pierce. No disrespect, but I'm not trying to be funny. I've been to your pantomime in bloody Bradford there, you know, and Billy Pierce has appeared for the last 10 years. Nice guy, getting a bit older, same jokes year in, year out. I never knew chickens had nuggets. Point made. So, we have the Crankies. Fair enough, you've got a point there. I'll concede that. And you have the Grumbleweeds. We have in the Highlands the beautiful countryside, the rolling there hills and the Munros, the heather, the rain. And you have the beautiful countryside, the Yorkshire Dales, the heather and the rain. But then of course we've got our own little phrases, our own little ways of saying things, using specific words with idiosyncratic accents that help us to be understood by others who share the same culture as us, whilst at the same time it kind of excludes and mystifies others. That's the point of dialect, so that you can connect with people who share your culture and exclude others. Am I right?
Yep.
A guy just said, I don't know what that means. Nowhere has this sort of thing been more beautifully captured than in this year's Clayton Village calendar. The brainchild of Jerry Drapier. Jerry in the room tonight.
Ah, yes!
Stand up, Jerry.
Nothing to do with me.
I see what you mean, Andy. A bearded, foul-mouthed, aggressive bastard. brainchild of Jerry Drapier, this wonderful document that brings together a mechanism for both remembering those important dates whilst holding on to your old and treasured Yorkshire sayings. Okay. Take, for example, the month of, and actually I forgot to write this in now, but the month that has with it the rather funny and yet accurate saying, Yorkshire born and Yorkshire bred, strong in time and thick in tent. As I said, ladies and gentlemen, Jerry Drapier. For the ladies, in another month we get the very important reminder of how to treat your men folk. Never put... All I want to say, for those of you that are bilingual like I am, it's not always easy to think in the other language.
Oh, you're a cunning linguist.
I'll teach you for sleeping about.
Never put the husband on the pedestal. He'll no but want dusting. You see, men, it all begins to make sense, doesn't it, as you look round? And finally, in another month, we get the friendly Yorkshire phrase that warns our young people of the dangers of idleness. Trouble about doing nought is you can't take time off. So you see, Daniel Warman, now you know why your father is so encouraging of you. It's all for your own good, lad. But us Scottish folk, we've got a few funny words and a few funny sayings too. Take, for example, it's a sair fecht, meaning, anyone? It's a sair fecht?
It's a hard life.
It's a hard life, well done. That's the guy that lives on his own. Do you know why? Do you know why he lives on his own? Because every morning he used to wake and say, it's a sair fecht. And then of course you've got the other one, Mony a mickle, max a muckle, which means, John? Alright, lots of little things add up to big things. I'm not being heckled by a big drum! What? Oh, sorry. It means lots of little things add up to big things. And finally, he was fairly gone his dinger. Now, that's got nothing to do with a young man practicing the art of self-abuse. Oh no, it's simply to translate it as he lost his temper. Which is a wee bit like Andy with the old sword and the haggis. But, listen, some terms and phrases are nigh on impossible to make sense of. And even if you do, you may find yourself wishing that you had never understood the translation. That ignorance is bliss. Take, for example, the Scottish phrase, bend down and fill my crevice!
That's a Scottish dentist, isn't it, like Bruce?
I mean...
Oh no, it's fill my cavity.
That'll cost you 50 quid! But I mean, you know, that never made the immortal memory, did it? And did Robbie Burns ever actually say that? But on the other hand, but the one that, seriously, I mean, as a Yorkshire one that's continued to mystify me, is the one that I heard here once in Bradford. Not once actually, more than once. And that surprisingly never made it to Jeff's calendar, and I'm not sure why. The comment that I have in mind is the one I heard shouted by one bloke to his neighbour recently as he explained, I took our lass up Ginnell last night. Which is only slightly better than the other version I'd written down.